Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Change Book Podcast. This is the last Monday in October, and I can't believe how quick this month has flown by. And as always, I'm here with another amazing author. And today I want to welcome Crystal Robinson to the Change Book Podcast stage. How are you, Crystal?
Hi, Nicole. Nice to see you.
Yes, nice to finally meet, not kind of face to face, but it's always good when I get to meet a new author. I love this job. I absolutely love it. And I love hearing about how our authors came to be in the Change Book. So could you tell us that?
I was reached out by another author that reached out to me and said that he loved my story and was really interested in hearing more and thought I might be interested in being an author in this book.
And so far, are you loving it? You've got your picture on the cover.
It's pretty amazing. It
It
really is
re-
amazing.
yeah, it is. It is.
I'm
So
excited.
can you tell us a little bit about what your chapter is about?
So my chapter is called The Catalyst, and it's
Mm.
my story of the catalysts that happened in my life regarding medical and my body and how that woke me up to really healing through mind, body, and spirit.
Wonderful. And you are a holistic healer, is that correct?
Correct. I'm a transformational coach, a national board certified health and wellness coach, and a Chopra certified total well-being coach.
Oh, wow. Okay, so give us some information on your coaching.
So, what I offer my clients is a wide range, anything from nutrition to shadow work. We work on the mind and the body and the spiritual element, connecting all three. Because I found in my own healing, going through medical issues, mental issues, all of it, that you really need all three to really truly feel healing and feel happiness and health.
That's wonderful. Now, there's a term that you mentioned that a lot of people might not be familiar with, and that's mirror work.
Shadow work.
Shadow work. I'm sorry, shadow work.
Shadow
Can,
work.
can
Shadow work.
you explain? Because I know I've done mirror work myself, not the easiest thing to do, but tell us what shadow work is.
Really, it comes down to those things about ourselves that are lurking deep, those heavy, deep things that we don't like. The things that make us who we are, but we shove down because we don't want to deal with them. We don't want to know that we have those tendencies or that's part of us. And going through the work is really finding what it is in other people that like really annoys you or under your skin, and realizing that those things about those people or groups or whatever it is that's really getting under your skin is really deep inside of you, and you do have those tendencies, but maybe in a different way. And actually going in and understanding it and having compassion for yourself and learning about it. And it's an awareness so that you really just love yourself for every part of you.
Oh, that's so nice. And would you say that's buried like in the subconscious?
Definitely. In the
Definitely.
subconscious and as part of our nervous system, because the mind and the nervous system is completely connected.
I love that. And what techniques do you use? How do you help people find that deeply buried memory or whatever it is that needs to come out and be released?
It's really just a matter of talking, just having the conversations and really holding the space for my client, being here to hear what it is that they hear, that they see, that they feel, and somatically processing emotions and understanding that that's all part of who we are, and not pushing it away, shoving it under a rug, or ignoring it. That you really have to go through it all to really know yourself fully.
Yes, and I know for myself, there were a lot of things as I went through my divorce that bubbled to the top. And you're like, well, where did that come from? Well, I kind of remember that, but you suppress a lot to, I guess, for self-preservation or whatever it is. So I know how important your work is. Now, you said you were Chopra certified, right?
Yes.
Tell us about that. What is that? What kind of certification is that versus someone else or some other form of certification?
So what drew me to the Chopra certification was the connection to between the mind, body, and the spirit, and the holistic roots to it. There's principles of Ayurveda, there's lots of meditation, and really getting into the nervous system. It's really a mix between the science and what I call the woo, the things
Oh,
outside of what is written in fact. And really getting into those deep parts holistically. I really enjoyed how the whole process worked as far as working through nutrition, working through the mind and the spiritual element.
God. And would you explain to our audience what Ayurveda is? I always have problems pronouncing that.
It's it's a philosophy. It's very similar to what you hear in classic Chinese medicine. It's really getting down to the roots of things, where you're looking at plant medicine, what you put into your body, what you surround yourself with, your tendencies and where that's rooted, and the things that actually fill your cup, fill your energy, as opposed to depleting it, and making sure that you're filling your energy more than you're depleting it. That's a
Gotcha.
general.
Yeah. But it's so important for people to know these things, and I love that you're actually talking about it because my concept has always been that our food is our medicine,
Mhm.
not a
Yeah.
prescribed pill that masks the symptoms. Could you talk about that a little bit, please?
That's completely why I went into holistic nutrition, which was my first coaching. It was rooted in my healing for over 10 years. It's how I got out of some really dark places, was literally going into like a holistic nutrition group and working with a holistic nutritionist and then studying with him after that and learning his techniques and giving it to others. Food truly is medicine, and not every food is for everybody. And you can't really go, well, they say this is really good for you, you should eat it. Some people, their bodies don't accept that. So you have to understand and really listen to your body and make the decisions based on what's best for you.
And how would someone listen to their body?
So actually understanding and maybe taking notes when your body feels different, when you have digestive issues, when you feel sluggish, when you don't have any energy, when you feel extra tired, when you eat something and your body just doesn't feel good.
Mhm.
Those things, and sometimes it's a combination of things that you're eating together. So actually, if you're having issues with your body, taking notes on what you're eating every day and seeing what things that you're eating on what days are really bothering you, and maybe removing them from your diet, because inflammation is the number one reason that people get disease.
Oh, absolutely. And could you tell someone or quickly teach them how to do muscle testing to see if that's good for your body or bad?
Muscle testing, yeah, electromagnetic muscle testing. So I can teach you a way to do it on your own, very simply. So you can take your fingers and lock them together around each other like this, and pull so that you're actually getting some resistance, so that you get some resistance. And really, the trick to electromagnetic muscle testing is to work into your nervous system. So you have to relax your shoulders, take a deep breath, and really relax into your body. You can't go into something like this with a tension or with an expectation. You really just have to let your body answer the question. And you can ask simple questions to start, like, is it sunny out today? And it locks. You can say, is it raining? And it breaks. So those are the things that you can understand about electromagnetic testing. It's your nervous system telling you the true answer. But you really have to be in a relaxed state. If you're expecting an answer, it won't work.
Isn't that amazing? There, the little tips and tricks so people can do that. But I would think that's really, really important and such an easy way to determine if this is good for you or not.
Yeah. Actually, you can use it for more than just foods. You can use it when you're making decisions, when you feel uncomfortable and you're questioning your decisions. If you really tap into your nervous system and to your spirit, you can answer anything.
That's wonderful. And I'm going to start doing that more. I know about it, but I'm really going to start doing it. This is my time to get healthy. So thank you for answering that. And you talk about the mind, body, and spirit connection. Why
Mhm.
is that so important?
So what I found in my own journey was, even though I was doing all the things nutritionally and I was exercising and I was really like at my fittest physically, that people would say, mentally and emotionally, I wasn't. So I was very sick. I ended up with lupus.
Oh,
I had multiple autoimmune conditions. There was a lot of things that were going on in my body. And even though I looked really healthy and I ate really well, I was sick. And it wasn't until I really started digging into what was going on in my mind and the fact that I was living in a victim mentality as well as fight or flight. Like my overall nervous system was just always on alert. And
oh.
understanding that those cortisol levels in your body being that raised and then not depleted and up and down causes inflammation, causes disease, causes autoimmune conditions, no matter how much you eat well and no matter how much you exercise. You have to do the work with your mind and your spirit as well as your body.
And so what would be some of the things a person, because if someone's never heard of this, they're not going to have the awareness that you have. So,
Correct.
my catalyst was a divorce and getting sick as well, losing hair, scratching my skin. So, kind of just quickly guide someone who maybe has never heard of this. What would be your symptoms? What would you look for? And maybe how would you be feeling inside to where you could realize that, your mind, body, and spirit is not connected?
I would say the number one thing is when you have things that pop up that are unexplainable. Modern medicine can't explain them. These things pop up and they can be repetitive. And a lot of times they're just telling you it's stress. They're just telling you it's stress because it is. It's stress. It's your hormone levels all crazy because you're living in fight or flight, or because you're fawning, or those typical types of emotional distress. And when you start seeing, oh, I get this rash all the time and I don't know why, or, your hair is falling out. I had that same problem. Um, we've all had like different things that have happened. And a lot of times we just unexplained. We don't even want to look into why they're explainable. Because if the doctor can't explain it, then there's no reason for it, right? But that's not true. It's your body signaling you to wake up and listen to it. Listen to what's going on because your body is connected to your nervous system and your spirit, and your mind is controlling that. So if your mind is in disarray all the time, your body will be too.
And since it's our mind controlling the sickness, can our mind control our wellness?
I find that that can be very true. Heal the mind, you heal the spirit, and you heal your body.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And when you bring up the fact that sometimes doctors don't know, I've actually had a doctor. Well, I had a friend that went to a doctor and she had a disease, dis-ease, and he told her, well, your body's attacking itself. And I'm like, I don't think the body attacks itself. What do you think about that?
I think that's bull. I really do. I've had doctors tell me that too. I went through one rheumatologist after another when I was dealing with the lupus. And they were just telling me that it was my own body and that there was no way to fix it. There was no cure, that I just had to take these medications for the rest of my life. And I was in my 40s. I said, there's no way I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. I mean, did I fall into that trap for a while? Yeah, I did. But did I get better? No, I got worse. So it
Ooh.
wasn't until I started stepping outside of that and really digging into other ways of healing, going to therapy, working with a coach, working on my nutrition, working on my mind, working on my emotions, that I really started to see the depths of what I could control within my own body. And I haven't had lupus flare in over 4 years.
Wow. So do you no longer have lupus or you just don't have the flare-ups?
Well, the doctors will say that it's always in me. The same thing with celiac,
Oh,
which there's an autoimmune condition. They say it's always in you. But most autoimmune conditions you can be born with. They're actually in your body and they never actually
oh.
manifest. And what manifests them is trauma.
Uh, Speak about trauma because I work with trauma and I just want you to introduce our audience to what trauma is and why it shouldn't be in your body.
So, what I feel trauma is, it's even the little things. Those little things that we kind of grow up with and not even understand are not normal. If you read in my chapter, I talk about things that happened to me into my adult life and through my adult life that I didn't even realize were normal. But once other people started talking about it, it became, oh my goodness, why was I allowing this to happen to me? Why was this happening to me? Why were people doing this? And I was like, well, wait a minute. Maybe it's because I'm also allowing it because I didn't know any better. Um, the Me Too movement was a big thing for me. It really opened my eyes to things that I didn't realize were not okay. And that's trauma when it's like in your body and in your mind, and you're actually changing how you react and your emotions around it.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. And some people that I've talked to, well, that's just how I've always been.
Mm.
Well, probably not always, because maybe when you were a little boy or a little girl, you didn't have that. So what catalyst brought you to that? And sometimes they don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, for me, it was the sickness. It was the constant one thing after another. I felt like I got a hold of one thing and then something else would happen. And it really came down to it's not just your body. Your body's trying to tell you something that you have to deal with outside of it. That's dealing with your brain and how you're dealing with emotions and this whole fact that you're living in fight or flight constantly, that you're just afraid. Those are the constants, the anxiety, the depression, all of those things are caused by things going on in your life and in your emotions and that you're not maybe willing to talk about.
Exactly, that you keep stuffing down lower and lower and lower that are affecting your whole being.
Mm,
Yeah, I love that you're bringing awareness to this because a lot of people call what you do woo woo.
mm.
How do you like turn that to help them understand that this is ancient? This is the things we do are so old that allopathic medicine is actually very new.
Yeah,
So,
that's true, and that's why I mix the Eastern and the Western. So I am as a career-driven individual, I've been an engineer for over 30 years. I've
oh
very much
wow.
been in the science, very much a science person, and that really dictated how I did things. I kinda grew up where the doctors knew everything, and I never advocated for myself until I actually started exploring things outside of that path and learning about holistic nutrition and classic Chinese medicine and Ayurveda and energy healing and all those things that are like outside that people would say were woo. Even people thought that chiropractic was woo back in the day. And I would even say that I probably did too. But it wasn't until I actually experienced those things and started to understand where they're rooted and what actually is good for our bodies and learning how to balance the two. You break your arm, yeah, you need Western medicine.
Right,
Want
right.
them to fix it. But if you have these unexplained medical conditions that they just want to throw, all the medications at you, but they're not giving you a reason or an answer, maybe there's another way.
Absolutely. And, for me, just watching a commercial about medicine, it helps one thing, but then there's 15 side effects. And
Yeah.
I'm just like, why aren't people exploring? Why aren't people looking around? And I know a lot of people it's finally becoming aware of, oh my gosh, there's more that can hurt me that can help me. So, you know, what's the answer to that? Why aren't people looking?
Well, I think they like the quick answer. They like the easy answer. They don't
Mm.
want to work harder. They don't want to change their habits. I work with people that are pre-diabetic or have high blood pressure or high cholesterol. And I work with them as a health and wellness coach, changing their diets and their lifestyles, but also doing the mind work to get around that to not be on medication for the rest of their lives. These
Oh,
are things you can actually do, but you have to want to do it.
exactly. And I had a father-in-law that was at the end of his life, he was taking like 32 medications a day. But he never wanted to do the work.
Yeah.
So, obviously we lost him. So I'm glad you're talking about this. I think it's very, very important. And I also see you're an intuitive.
I am.
Have
Mediumship
you
came up for
always
me.
been? Yeah.
I know I've always been, but again, this is something I suppressed about myself because of what was okay in my circles. It was never really something talked about. It was always, oh, you're very imaginative, you're so creative. It wasn't something I always talked about until it came to a point that it was bombarding me. And I had to find out what was going on. I thought I was crazy. And then I opened myself up to it and started talking to people who were into this type of thing and learning about it and then just listening to it, and it all made perfect sense.
So when you're working on someone, can you kind of see where the pain is or sense where that deep rooted fear is buried? Is that how that works?
Yeah, it's especially when they have a condition going on in their body, because I'm an energy healer also, I can kind of send my energy out. Like if you realize when you walk into a room with a bunch of people, you will feel energy by noticing that there's one person in that room that's like sunshine. You just want to meet them. You just want to be near them.
Gravitate, yeah.
And there may be another person that is completely, "Oh, I need to stay away from that person. Like that doesn't vibe with me." That's your energy. That's how energy works. So when I feel like my energy, I can expand it and encompass the other individual that I'm with and really connect and feel, okay, what doesn't feel right here? What doesn't feel right there? Where are they holding tension? Where are they not? It just comes to me intuitively. It's energy.
Yeah, and it's amazing, isn't it? It's really amazing. So when you first talk to your clients, do you tell them all of this and do you sense their energy to see if it's a good fit or not for you and the way you're able to help them?
I actually don't.
Okay.
Because I offer so many things, this is just a tool in my toolbox.
Yeah,
If I
and
have somebody that comes in that doesn't even wanna go even near the woo, I'm completely trained in nutrition and health and wellness. I can
wow,
help them with that. So, I it's just a part of me that's just a tool in my toolbox. That's
wow.
all.
And you have a great toolbox, I will tell you that. So one of the things I noticed on your website, it talks about delving into timeless teachings.
Mm,
So what would that be?
meditation,
Oh, love it.
meditation, and so many people are afraid of it. And I probably was too. Like, "Ooh, sit there and be quiet and actually listen to all the things that are going on in my head, that's super scary,
Scary,
right?"
scary.
And it is, and until you really start learning about it and doing it, and I recommend people do it in a guided way, like listen to a guided meditation, go to a class where you're sitting amongst individuals who are also wondering. There's actually no right or wrong way to meditate. That's what I tell people. If you pray, you're meditating.
Right.
Right? If you're taking a walk in nature and actually enjoying what's around you, you're meditating. These are just ways to connect in with your inner being, with your true self. And that's what meditation is. Whether
And
you
it's
sit
so
down on a
important.
cushion and sit in silence or with nice music, or you take a walk, it's all really good for you.
And one thing I like that you're bringing up is there's no right or wrong way
Mm.
because certain people think, oh, because they see it in the Indian culture and well, you've got to be sitting up. And it's like, I can't. That's uncomfortable for me because sometimes I'll go into meditation for an hour. And I always tell people hands up to receive, hands down to ground, but you can lay down. And like you said, I think it's when whatever you're doing when you can stop that mind of that monkey mind, that monkey chatter, that's a form of meditation. Would you agree with that?
I would, but I also tell people that that's not your goal because
Okay.
really what your goal is that the thoughts come in and then they go back out. That you don't latch onto them. You're always going to have thoughts. It's almost impossible to ask somebody to actually meditate and not have anything go through your brain. There's so many thoughts that go through your brain in a minute. It's very impossible to ask somebody to do that. That's a lot of times why people chant or they sing or they do certain things when they're meditating because they're focusing their brain on something. So if you were to sit in silence and actually not think of anything, there's something going on in your head. You're seeing something or imagining something or feeling something. And that's what you're connecting to as opposed to the thoughts. You let them come in, you let them go back out.
I love that. I love that. And you talk about a judgment-free space. And I think that is so important. So just tell us your philosophy. So many people judge. I love that you don't, but what brought you to that point to make yours judgment-free?
Yeah, it's really a rooted philosophy in the Chopra teachings too, that you are whole no matter where you are right now. It's just where you are right now. And I know that the things that I've gained from healing all came from losing the judgments that I grew up with, or that society put on me, or that other people put on me. And I really want people to be able to come into this space and be able to sit with me and tell me anything. Let it out, because words have power. And once you release them, you either say them or write them, it allows you to relax and get into a totally different space. It allows you to really process those emotions without putting a label on them.
And that's freeing, isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah, I love that. And one last question. You talk about a higher level of awareness. What does that mean from your point of view?
That's awareness of self. It's really the awareness of how I'm reacting to things, what's happening in my body as I'm having a conversation with somebody, maybe at work, maybe with family members, maybe just in my own home. What am I saying? What's happening in my body? Am I getting all crazy, or am I getting sad, or am I retreating? There's all different things that happen. And the total awareness is just understanding when you do it, why you do it, and how you can shift it depending on where you are.
Wow. And that's just such brilliant advice. And we're coming up on the end of our interview, and boy, has it gone fast. And I've learned a lot. So thank you for that. But I think for our audience, I do have the link to your website in the
Mhm.
description. But can you tell us the best way to get a hold of you?
The best way to get a hold of me is either email at Crystal Lee, crystalmoonholistichealing.com, or on my website, which is crystalmoonholistichealing.com. I'm also available on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn as Crystal Moon Holistic Healing and Crystal Robinson.
So that's going to make it very easy for people to find that. And that's what I just do everything in my name. It's like, oh, I'm just going to keep it really simple. So, well, I want to thank you today for being on the program, and being that we're in similar lines of work, or similar passions, I should say. I am so happy when I hear people bringing awareness and giving options as to either taking medicine, either, connecting with nature, grounding for healing, popping a pill for healing. So I'm going to pick your way. And I think so many people it would be so advantageous to connect with you.
Mm.
So I'm very happy that you showed up. I'm very happy that you're talking about this, and just bringing an overall awareness of how brilliant our bodies are and how they can talk to us.
Thank you very much, Nicole, for having me and asking such great
So
questions.
thank you.
I enjoyed it.
Okay. Good. Thank you so much. And to our viewers, I will be back here next Monday with another amazing author from the Change Book. Thanks, everyone. Have a great Monday.